Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
And good morning to one and to all. It'd be the 15th of the 8th month of the year 2024, but who's counting? Okay. So much to talk about, so little time. I want to revisit quickly two things that I mentioned yesterday, I believe. And one was, well, this is something I guess I mentioned quite often, the fact that a failing of the Democrats is that they do not play the long game. They don't focus on down ballot races, whereas that is the strong suit of our opposition, the Republicans, who take the gold medal in doggedness, which God knows we'll never get even near the platform on. Okay, so I just wanted to point out another instance of this Republican doggedness and long game play. It popped up in front of me on the front page of the New York Times today, and the headline is "Religious Right Targeting IVF as Allies Shift." And what it's talking about is the fact that the National Party is pivoting away from being against IVF because it sees what no winner it is with a national audience. And so the new GOP party platform actually says that it is behind advancing access. Whoa, who knew? To IVF. Well, there's a whole bunch of folks supporting the Republican ticket who are in no way intent on advancing IVF, and that is, of course, mostly the conservative Christian base. So they are doubling down, and it's fascinating to see. It's not like they do this ever in a stealthy way. They know the odds of them succeeding anytime soon, this being so incredibly unpopular, this does not dissuade them. They are fervent, dogged, values that are elusive to Democrats. And the piece says, here's one sentence that just a part of a sentence, that there it is. They, the religious right, are planting seeds for their ultimate goal of ending abortion from conception and making IVF illegal. So they're into planting seeds. We're not. I have a friend who is wealthy enough that when she wants to plant things in her garden, she buys not ever seeds, for God's sakes, nor little piddling plants. She buys already like a huge thing that might take 8-10 years to grow that much. So she's got the bucks to do it. And I once said to her, one of the joys of gardening is seeing something grow from a small seed, of waiting. But we live in a culture, of course, where waiting for anything is like a sin, immediate gratification. And these right wing Christian, I use the word really loosely, it's just what they call themselves, Christian conservatives, they're also patient. It's amazing how you can be fervent and patient at the same time. So the article just says they see their challenge stretching across generations. Can you imagine us doing the same? Now, you could argue, well, we did with civil rights, gay rights. In fact, those are ongoing struggles that we engage in. So, in that regard, I will undercut my argument. But they're just starting up again, exactly like they did when they and we laughed at them when they thought they were going to overturn Roe. Right? So do not discount these fervent Christian soldiers. They're always marching as to war. Okay, so there was that I just wanted to, because I saw that piece in the Times. The other thing is, I mentioned after a long silence on the topic, Ukraine, and how happy I was at the incursion of the Ukraine military into Russia itself and the taking of a sizable chunk of Russian land. Now, I call it an incursion rather than invasion because, unlike Russia heading into Ukraine and taking land in Ukraine, Russia's goal is to keep it. That's an invasion. They intend to keep that land. Ukraine doesn't want this Russian land. It is essentially a defensive maneuver on their part that bears all the trappings of an offensive maneuver. By doing what they're doing, they hope, and they've already succeeded, in getting the Russian soldiers who are causing so much damage to Ukraine in another part of the battlefield to have to turn and reallocate, and thus giving the Ukraine military a chance to get its act together where it has been, in fact, losing territory. Who knows? Oh, this just in, Vance and Walz have agreed to a vice presidential debate on October 1. Well, put it in your calendars. You won't want to miss that one. Okay, so in regard to Ukraine, I just want to share with you some of something that David French, who's a very clear-headed Christian conservative, wrote. David French reminds us that there was a time when being a Christian conservative did not mean you were stark raving out of your mind and decidedly advancing all kinds of ideas that Jesus, upon whom teaching Christianity was founded, would recoil, right? This is the real deal, David French. And anyway, I thought what he says here, and I'll share it with you, is incredibly important. And we all should soberly contemplate it. Here's one way to think through the importance of the news stories that flood our lives. Which ones will historians still be talking about in 50 years? Are there any that are now flooding our heads, our brains, our social media that historians will be talking about in 100 years? David French says, yeah. The answer is yes. And without question, historians will be discussing the Russia-Ukraine war 100 years from now, if we're still around. And that alone tells you how important this war is, whether we, from the safety of our perch, surrounded by fish, we're separated, and none of these things ever seem immediate to us. The Ukraine-Russia war is such an event because it has immense strategic implications for the entire world and for the United States. It is too, and we've noted this, anyone who's paying any attention, it's a struggle in which we see the changing way nations will fight. The very nature of warfare. This will be one of the first times that certain things are utilized. It will be an historic turning point in the way humanity chooses to engage in warfare. The massive use of drones and other new technologies. And the fact also that this war could alter the entire global balance of power, especially, and I think without a doubt, if Russia prevails. If Russia prevails, the West loses, and we are supposedly the leader of the West. We lose. And the fact that the Republican Party is rooting for Russia, right? A huge chunk of the Republican Party, not all, I'm going to be fair, rooting for Russia tells you all you need to know about that party now. It is essentially a fifth column. It is a party of traitors. So, do not discount, as our news media invariably do, the importance of this war that we're not feeling, but the consequences of which our children and our children's children will feel. It's that important. And let's make clear, I read the entire French article. He talks to some, military strategists. And what Ukraine is doing here is, it's mind-blowing what they pulled off. Whether or not it succeeds is another issue. And let us not forget the imbalance of these two forces. Russia certainly expected to squash Ukraine in a matter of weeks. And we're heading into the third winter of this war. Let me just share one more little thing from here. He says, David French says, the Ukrainian attack, at least for now, is a good news story. Yes, for a valiant nation in desperate need of a win. It is hard to overstate the relentless pressure of the Russian offensive, and even the most courageous people, the Ukrainians, need hope to keep fighting against these overwhelming odds. And the last thing these beleaguered brave Ukrainians need is a reinstitution of a Trump presidency. Another thing David French wrote that shocked me, because I find his writing often very compelling, and he writes as a Christian conservative. I so often agree with him. He is such an honorable, he's a true Christian soul, and it makes you yearn for those people, for people like him. So his voting history is fascinating. He has admitted that he did not vote for Joe Biden. He did not vote for Hillary Clinton. He is so conservative politically that he couldn't vote for them. Of course, he couldn't vote for Donald Trump, so he has been doing write-ins. This election is the first time that David French is voting for the Democrat. He's voting for Kamala. And here's what he says to other conservatives. I'm often asked by Trump voters if I'm still a conservative, and I respond that I cannot vote for Trump precisely because I am conservative. I loathe sex abuse, pornography, and adultery. Trump has brought those vices into the mainstream of the Republican Party. I want to cultivate a culture that values human life from conception through natural death. Yet America became more brutal, more violent during Trump's term. I want to defend liberal democracy from authoritarian aggression, yet Trump would abandon our allies and risk our most precious alliances. The only real hope for restoring a conservatism that values integrity, that demonstrates real compassion and defends our foundational constitutional principles, isn't to try to make the best of Trump, a man who values only himself. If he wins again, it will validate his cruelty and his ideological transformation of the Republican Party. If Harris wins, the West will stand against Vladimir Putin, and conservative Americans will have a chance to build something decent from the ruins of a party that was once a force for good in American life. Okay, that's a true Christian conservative. Would that there were more. And I think what's fascinating is for him, it simply comes down to Harris is on the right side of, for him, the two most important issues that face us. One, protecting our democracy, and two, helping Ukraine win this war that historians will be writing about 100 years from now. Important stuff. Okie doke. Speaking of Trump, and then I'd like to let it go because Charlie Sykes, who, and I now am, the people I love reading more than anybody are these never Trumper Republicans. Charlie Sykes. I used to hate this guy because he was a right-wing talk show host in Milwaukee. And now I so value his clear-headedness. Tom Nichols, another case in point, now writing in The Atlantic. David French in the New York Times. These are clear-headed, honorable people. And Charlie Sykes, I think, writes, I think he wrote in the Atlantic. I think that's where I read it, maybe not, about how Trump's racism, that this is, I mean, we all know this is nothing new, that the Republican playbook has always been instill fear, stoke hate, and racism. It's the boogeyman of the hour. I mean, blacks took a back seat for a little while when gays were put in the first position of fear. Be afraid, be very afraid, the gays are coming. So it's gays or blacks, and now it's browns and blacks and immigrants, right? It can also be religious if they're non-Christian, non-white, but this is something the Republicans have toyed with forever. But Sykes points out, and I saw this thing, I think, on social media, and there is a ad out there that has a picture that says your neighborhood under Trump. And folks, it is like reminiscent of a neighborhood from Father Knows Best. It is a pristine street with lovely little homes, and one home flying the American flag. So there's this picture, your neighborhood under Trump, and it's juxtaposed with your neighborhood under Kamala. And it is a picture of black and brown, mostly men, in this sort of chaotic street scene. It turns out it is a photo of migrants who'd been dumped in the middle of New York City, probably by Greg Abbott in Texas, not having a clue what's going on. But it is so racist when you look at it. Your neighborhood under Trump. Pristine. There are no people in the neighborhood under Trump. I mean, if there had been, there'd be little white kids playing, I suppose. In the neighborhood under Kamala is this really scene of chaos and black and brown people. And it says underneath, import the third world, become the third world. And Sykes says the racism here is just, so apparent. There's no subtlety, as well is often the case with Republicans. And he says, expect more, expect worse, because he's scared and he's struggling, Trump. Also, he points out that when you listen to Trump surrogates, Trump himself, they are obsessed with crime stories that involve immigrants or black or brown men. You never hear them talk about crime other than within that context. It always has that racial taint. And in fact, there is, anyone who still lives in a fact-based universe knows there is zero evidence of a migrant-led crime spike in these here United States. And in fact, there are much higher crime rates, lower crime rates in cities that have the greatest number of migrants. Migrants are less likely than the Native Americans to commit crimes. You can say this till you're blue in the face, and the maggots don't hear it. So understand that dog whistles are a thing of the past. They're not dog whistling anymore. They're not attempting to hide that they are appealing to Americans' fear of people who are not white. I know you're all rolling your eyes and saying, hey, Lynn, tell us something we don't know. But I just want to reiterate it. So much to talk about, damn. I thought one of the most mind-blowing pieces I've seen since last we spoke was this medical story about doctors, neurologists who've been doing studies on people who are called in a vegetative state. They're hooked up to machinery, and there's nobody there. They have found really compelling evidence that a good quarter of those people, probably more, are still there. They are capable of comprehension, of hearing, obviously, because they've done these studies in which researchers asked these people, who everybody says are, just vegetables, have asked them to do tasks, cognitive tasks, such as imagine yourself playing tennis. And damn, they've got these guys with their supposedly essentially their brains aren't functioning anymore. They have them hooked up so they can see their brain, anything going on in their brains. And they clearly are doing the task. It's exactly the same kind of brain pattern seen in healthy people who were told, imagine playing tennis. And I read that, and my first inclination was just to cry. Oh my God. All those people who we've given up on, they're there. They are there. Can you imagine the torment? And we've got, knowing this now, and it's what these researchers say, man, we have got to do better. One of the neurologists who authored the resulting report that came out said it shows that up to 100,000 people in the United States alone might have some level of consciousness despite their devastating brain injuries. And so we've got to do better with these people. And I would think that anybody who has such a person in their lives must now know that, yes, you should sit and talk to them and tell them they're not alone. They can hear you. Some can hear you. So that just blew me away. Want to point out another weird thing that I saw. Sam Hazo, I hope you know who that is. He's a marvelous poet and writer who has lived in Pittsburgh all his life and has he started the poetry. I mean, he has started so many initiatives. I remember this time that he brought Grace Kelly here. God, she was the princess at the time. As part of his poetry, some poetry thing that he had going. I mean, Sam is an astonishing character. I believe in his 90s now, and he's still writing, crisp as can be. And he wrote a piece. I think it was in, God, where did I say it? Maybe in Pittsburgh Quarterly. And he pointed out it's a piece of why Pittsburgh is always in the top 10 of the cities that are good to live in. And he ended it with a piece of information that I'd never thought of and that blew me away. And I'm just going to share it with you. And I think I have to look at it, look at the map downtown a little bit better. He said, come on, Sam, where'd I put you? Here. He said, this is a city where Fifth Avenue crosses Sixth Avenue. And no one has ever questioned the sheer impossibility of that. Guys, that is odd. And I suspect, I can't picture exactly where that happens because I'm not good with street names. It'd be down, it must be a result of our wondrous geography here that the downtown ends in a triangle, in a point at which the Ohio River forms, and there are 3 rivers there. And because of that narrowing of the land, the streets cannot run in a, in a nice little pattern. It's why finding your way around Pittsburgh can be so daunting that at one point, Fifth Avenue crosses Sixth Avenue. I can't quite place it. Maybe someone place that for me. It's just so odd. I loved it. Okay, I want to stay in Pittsburgh for just a bit because I read something in city paper that so enraged me I couldn't see straight. And why should I be enraged all by myself when I can pass it on to you and you can be enraged as well? So let me find it here. It's about UPMC. You know how much I love UPMC. Well, why the hell can't I find it? I'm sorry, forgive me. I've lost it. I'm going to scream. I'm going to scream. I've lost it. Oh my God. I inadvertently, I think, erased a whole bunch of crap I had here for you. All right. Well, I can't go there. I lost it. Just hang on. Yeah. Have not a clue. But it has to do with the taxes, the fact that they're tax exempt. And damn it. And someone, as a matter of fact, I remember who, the Lown Institute, LOWN, out of Boston, founded by one of the most amazing human beings I've ever personally met, Dr. Bernard Lown, who was the winner of a Nobel Peace Prize and was just brilliant doctor. And he has an institute that, aims to try to improve the quality of health care in this country. What? Be free calling in. Oh, you have a call. Reed, I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me that. I didn't see it. Hello? Are you there?
Yes, I don't know if my signal will work or not.
Uh-oh, you're very...
Am I will be heard?
You're garbly.
Very much.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Let me try to switch to the phone itself.
Oh, that's better. That was better for a second.
Is it better?
Yes.
Okay.
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Malaysia.
You are in Malaysia. Okay. Well,
I am. Yeah, and I'm using this Viber as it's cheaper, but I just know why it's cheaper because it's not very good.
No. You sound okay now, though, Bree. So, hey, we're only 10 subscribers away. Bree is the one who's been trying to get me to 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it would be great. Well, I don't know. When we were talking about the street, I know where they cross, and there used to be a comedian at it was Comedy Night Live, which ran for I forget his name off his face, but he had a routine about seeing someone from outside of Pittsburgh, giving them directions from the airport to Monroeville, and remember the first line was you got to be east way west.
Wait. We just see you're breaking up again. Wait. Bree, you're breaking up. So the line was what?
All right. You got to go east on Parkway West.
Yes. You have to go east on the Parkway West.
It's like that.
Yeah. But you do know where Fifth Avenue crosses 6th Avenue?
Yeah. I can see it in my mind's eye.
Wow.
And that's one of the things I want to say. I mean, I watch recaps every day. I can't watch the whole game, but the 10-minute recaps they haven't been doing lately. And that listening to your show sort of connects me to Pittsburgh. That's one of the things that I've always enjoyed about the show. We can't get Pittsburgh Post Gazette unless you VPN. They don't allow international. It's hard to look up. I have to always load the VPN and whatnot. And there was a time I had a TV. I got the local channels from Pittsburgh, but that's sort of gone now.
Well, let me
some of the radio station, but
okay. Let me suggest as a local source of news, the NPR radio affiliate now, WESA FM. WESA has a wonderful online local news coverage, and I would, I'm sure you can join WESA or you can, just subscribe to their newsletter. And because I don't read the Post-Gazette, they're on strike. I think we've lost you though. Yeah. I think we lost you. So, okay. I'm going back. Milton writes, Fifth Avenue crosses Sixth Avenue at the old Mellon One building. Now that's just like a Pittsburgher. What's the old Mellon One building? The old Mellon One building. Let me think. Right at the county courthouse. Oh, and the old jail. Do you realize how that's so funny? It's like the old Mellon One building at the old jail, right at the. Okay, so everything is, referenced in terms of what it once was. That is funny. Okay, so that's Fifth. I get that. I understand where Fifth. Okay, I'll have to drive down. I can't. I know exactly what you're talking about, but that's Sixth. Never mind. Forgive me. I don't know, but it has to be. So, I mean, if you have a map, then you can trace how that ends up happening, and it has to be the triangular nature, right? Has to be the triangle. That is the downtown, the point, all of that. I cannot believe I somehow managed to erase all of that stuff about UPMC and the Lown Foundation. And what they found is that UPMC, the whole system-wide UPMC, is at the top of big, big hospitals that are not anywhere near paying their fair share into the cities that they are in. I was going to be more that they suck off of, even as they're the largest employer here. That's what they'll say. Well, we employ 100. Let's not get into some of how they treat some of their lower level employees, and let us not get into how they treat their higher level employees with $10 million salaries and private jets, even as they don't pay taxes. And part of the reason these humongous corporatized structures can hide behind the nonprofit label and thus not pay property taxes, they call themselves charities. Ha! And what the intention is that the amount of money that they don't pay because of that status, their charitable status, into the city coffers should be redeployed as charitable care. And so the Lown Foundation looked into how much money these humongous entities are not paying in taxes by virtue of their charitable designation, and how much actual charity they provide. And UPMC was on the really bad list of taking the benefit from us taxpayers and not giving back anywhere near the amount that we are foregoing because of their status. It is a maddening article. And damn it, I can't believe I don't have the numbers in front of me here, but damn it. Okay, E1 is saying, here it is. It's from Lori Anderson. Hey, pal, how do I get to town from here? And he said, well, you just take a right where they're going to build that new shopping mall. Go straight past where they're going to put in the freeway. Take a left at what's going to be the new sports center and keep going until you hit the place where they're thinking of building that drive-in bank. You can't miss it. Well, didn't it? Yeah, it used to. Oh, so this one is all sort of future centered where they're going to do this. But so often when I was first here, you go by where the Isleys used to be, right? You take a left at where, it was always where the Sears store was. And that's wonderful. And thank you for writing all that down for me there in chat. I do appreciate it. It's from Big Science by Lori Anderson from 1982. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. God almighty. Well, I want to note the passing of a truly great actress who most people don't know. She's 94 years old, Gena Rowlands. The reason you don't know her is she was such a great actress that she pretty much, refused to, she just couldn't stand Hollywood. And she pretty much walked away from Hollywood. And she was married to the great actor, director John Cassavetes, and they were pals with Peter Falk, that whole crowd of just marvelous actors. And Gena Rowlands was the woman in that crowd. And Jesus, any part she had was mind-blowingly done. Anyone who knows anything about acting swooned. Cate Blanchett said that is who she admires above all actors. It was she who she wanted to emulate. But she just walked away from a ton of it. Gena Rowlands. And one of the other things I always could tell about her was that even though she was a great actress, I could tell she was from Wisconsin. And it was only this obit that I finally see, yep, of course she was. Well, I didn't need to. She had never lost a slight Wisconsin accent. And so even amongst her most, wondrous roles, I would every once in a while hear Wisconsin in her. And I thought, oh God, she is, I love it. And sure, it says here she was born in, I don't know, some little town. In Wisconsin, of course, she was. Cambria, Wisconsin in 1930. So anyway, I just have to tell you, if you've never seen, she did mostly indie films along with her husband, and got a number of Academy Award nominations, but never would win. I think she finally got an honorary one because nobody'd ever seen her films, but enough had seen it that she'd get the nomination because it was always a mind-blowing, just mind-blowing actress with a Wisconsin accent, Gena Rowlands. Oh, copy and paste. That's how you did it. I don't know how to copy and paste. Do you believe that? I am not meant for this world. And someone has sent me a picture of 6th and 5th. Oh God. Little by little, guys, I'll okay. There it is. Okay. I get it. Thank you, Craig. Man. He gave me an aerial photo and how do you guys do all this stuff? Okay. I'm going to be able to figure it out from there. 5th flat out crosses 6th. What a joke. I love it. Here's something I don't love. And this is where I'm often behind the curve on local news because I will not read the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I won't pay a dime for it. I won't let my lovely hazel eyes cast themselves on that scab-written verbiage. So I did not know, and I've been gone, I guess. I've been out of town. I'm going to blame that too. First of all, I just want to, okay, the way to get in, I happened to see that someone in a position to know had said of a certain place, it is the largest humanitarian crisis on the planet. I'm talking about now. And where do you think that is? The largest humanitarian crisis on the planet. I'll tell you this, it is not Gaza. Don't tell any of the people so consumed not to say that what's going on in Gaza is anything wondrous. God. The largest humanitarian crisis on the planet that all of these, folks so concerned about people starving to death and genocide and war crimes is happening on the African continent and is happening in Sudan. And the whole friggin' world ain't paying attention. Now, what's the difference? The Sudanese don't have, they just don't have, they better call up whoever does the Palestinian PR. And it's a long game. The Palestinians found out you can engage in all kinds of acts of terror against Jews for years and years and years, and rather than being seen as terrorists, you'll be seen as beleaguered folks worthy of our sympathy. So they slaughter the entire Israeli Olympic team in Munich. And does it harm their cause? No. And they build upon that. They throw an old Jewish man in a wheelchair off a ship that they've commandeered. His name was Klinghoffer. And it actually is made into an opera in which the opera is sympathetic to the people who threw the Jew off the ship. So I'm saying, I don't know. I think that what the Sudanese are missing in their formula is Jews. I got a feeling that's what it is, Jews. So I did not know that there is an effort. I was saying yesterday how all these abortion referenda in states around, I don't know what's with my voice, states around the country, that Pennsylvania will never have that because we don't have that kind of grassroots effort to put a referendum on our ballot. But the same is not true of the city. And so gathering signatures in the city can get a referendum that would apply to the city on the November ballot. And there is an effort to do just that. Now, damn it, I think I've gone and lost that too. You know what? I'm going to shoot myself. I am. I do not understand how all these things. What the hell? I'm sorry, guys. I've just lost. Oh, there it is. Okay. What am I looking for? Here is the referenda that may be on our November ballots. Shall the Pittsburgh Home Rule Charter be amended and supplemented by a new article prohibiting investment or allocation of public funds, including tax exemptions, to entities that conduct business operations with or in the state of Israel? And it goes on. Until Israel ends its military action in Gaza, fully allows humanitarian assistance to reach Gaza and grants equal rights to every person living in the territories under Israeli control. Okay, so they say they've got the enough signatures. They're already being a group of Jews, obviously. The United Jewish Federation here, which would lose its tax-exempt status if this goes through, is suing, along with my rabbi, I see, as part of the suit. And I just want to say how just extraordinarily, as usual, ham-fisted and wrong-headed this thing is. The city controller says, hey, guys, this is a global economy. Israel is a huge driver of all kinds of technology and other stuff. To divest from anybody that does business with Israel or in Israel is to divest from, a gazillion major corporations. So Heisler, who's the city controller, says, this, if it passes, would prevent us from carrying out basic city functions. We couldn't provide electricity. We couldn't purchase life-saving medications. Buying protective equipment for our first responders, even fueling police vehicles. And that just names a few things that come to mind. It would severely disrupt the city's entire contracting process, causing tremendous inefficiency. Can you imagine? So before this is just bullshit. It's more performative bullshit that, if passed, will not help one citizen of Gaza. Let's make that clear. Will not help one beleaguered citizen of Gaza. But it will hurt Jews and Jewish organizations here. That would mean all our synagogues would no longer be tax exempt. The churches, the mosques, they get to go, but not the Jewish houses of worship. if this thing passes. It's outrageous. Okay, that's all I got. And I guess that's it for this week. It was a short week for me. And Jonathan says, yes, Sam Hazo has a wonderful collection of essays about Pittsburgh called The Pittsburgh That Stays Within You. And he mentions that in this piece, that it's now in its 5th edition. He so loves this city, and he captures it. So that's a nice gift for somebody. The Pittsburgh That Stays Within You. The city where 5th Avenue crosses 6th Avenue. Who wouldn't love a city like that? With the most bridges of any city in the world. Yeah, who wouldn't love a city like that? A city that is going to defeat this ballot referendum if it ever gets its unconstitutional, half-assed performative self on the ballot. That's a city you love. Have a great weekend, you guys, and I'll see you back Monday.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.